piece you're hearing is Moonlight Sonata. Beethoven has plenty of beautiful pieces, but this one is his most memorable piece for me. According to Jamil Sahar, from the Art of Piano Performance, the Moonlight Sonata did not get its name until several years after Beethoven's death. An article from the Bio stated that Beethoven struggled with deafness, and in his last 10 years of his life, when it was at its worst, he composed some of his greatest pieces. Even though his toughest challenges and the hardest time in his life, he continued to compose some of the most beautiful and soothing music in the world today. It is very exciting and interesting to be commemorating one of the greatest composers to this day, Ludwig van Beethoven. Lillian Monsieux from the All About LVB article states that Beethoven was born in December of 1770 in Bonn, Germany, in a family of musicians at the Royal Court of Cologne. Ludwig spent the first years of his life surrounded in a very good atmosphere. Beethoven's family wasn't filthy rich, but they were not poor either. Beethoven as a kid was very smart, but his father, who was a mediocre singer for the court, resented him and his talents. Growing up, his source of inspiration came from his grandfather, who was a well-known, prosperous, and eminent musician. Beethoven's mother was a gentlewoman who had given him the love and affection he needed. She helped and encouraged him to grow and expand his knowledge. Sometime in between the births of his two younger brothers, Beethoven's father began teaching him music with extreme sternness and precision that affected him the rest of his life. It was said that the neighbors heard a small boy weeping while playing the clavier and his father beating him for each hesitation and mistake he had made. Almost every day, Beethoven was beaten and deprived of getting sleep for extra hours of practice. Whether it was because of his father's brutal methods, Beethoven showed to be a very talented musician from his earliest of days. Beethoven struggled in school, mostly with math and spelling, and was at best an average student. He withdrew from school at age 10 and started to study and learn music with Christian Gottlob Nephi. After studying for 2 years and under Nephi, Beethoven published his first composition at age 12. This composition was a set of piano variations by a composer named Dressler. In the LVB article of Beethoven's life, it is said Beethoven's father struggled with alcoholism and was no longer able to support his family. Despite his young age, Beethoven stepped up and was put on court payroll for playing music, earning 150 florins a year to support his family. His specific purpose in the court at the time was being the assistant court organ. In 1787, the court sent Beethoven off to Vienna, which is the capital of Europe's culture and music, to study under Mozart. Apparently, in a website titled Awesome Stories, there was no clear or real evidence that Beethoven ever studied under Mozart. But tradition has it Mozart claimed to have said, "Keep your eyes on him. Someday he will give the world something to talk about." In 1800, on April 2nd, Beethoven debuted his number one symphony at the Royal Imperial Theater in Vienna. As the century progressed, so did Beethoven, composing piece after piece that eventually placed him as masterful and mature composer. After Napoleon Bonaparte named himself emperor, Beethoven debuted his Symphony No. 3 in his honor. The Encyclopedia of World Biography stated that Beethoven started losing his hearing and becoming deaf in 1802. Because of this deafness, he considered committing suicide in the year of 1802. In 1815, Beethoven had given up on performing publicly as a pianist. There was a time in Beethoven's life between 1803 through 1812 called the Middle or Heroic Period. The website titled Music for Beethoven claims through these years in his life he composed 72 songs, an opera, 4 trios, 6 symphonies, 4 overtures, 4 solo concerts, 5-string quartets, 6-string sonnets, 7 piano sonatas, and 5 sets of piano variations. Beethoven completed his final symphony, number 9, in 1824. This symphony, being his last, was his most towering achievement, and is said to be the most famous piece in music history. Beethoven died on March 22, 1827, at the age of 56, and the cause of death was post-hepatic cirrhosis of the liver. In conclusion, Beethoven is one of the greatest composers of all time, and he defined what it is to be a great composer. To me, Beethoven was shaped and born into the person he is today because of his mother and grandfather. He was forced to grow up and support his family at a young age, which to me is a sign of leadership and control. Beethoven has blessed the world with his beautiful pieces of music that will stay with us in this world forever. His hard work and determination should be a reminder to everyone to never give up on your dreams. Beethoven is gone, but he will live throughout his music forever.
Very good.